Hey guys, so Mustang update. The car went off to the fab shop to get a new cage done and a sweet cantilever rear suspension setup. So this is originally a true coilover car. These two coilovers were mounted in the in place of where the shock used to be. So it used to go in here. So we'd have a shock, since I'm running the Cortex true coilover system. The actual cantilever here is Mike Myers built. He uses it on his older Mustang chassis, and he has it in his S550. So this is kind of based off of his setup, but I'm running the Cortex Watts link and sway bar. But a lot of people asked what this is and how it works. So essentially it gives me more room on the inside of the tire, because with this coilover setup at full droop it will rest on the coilovers if you're running an 18/11. I want to run something a little bit bigger and hopefully not rub, so I'm gonna So this setup now gives me a lot more room on the inside. I'll put the tire back on and show you guys, but I have like an 1.5 inches up here where I can push the tire in more. So I have a little bit more clearance for the articulation of the rear end. So I'll show you how the system works, and I want to install some helper springs right here since I have a little bit of slack in the coil. So here's how the system goes up and down. So this is the system at ride height. I'll kind of show you how it moves when handling a bump. So this is one side hitting the bump. So that's articulation on one side, and you can see how it pulls and changes on both sides. So yeah, that's how it works. I'm going to show you how to take apart the upper coilover. You'll want it with some weight to it, and then you'll just pop off these two. I'm going to move this down about 1 inch to make room for the Ibach helper spring and spacer. So essentially this spring here will just you won't have any resistance unless it's at full droop. So I will keep the spring where it's at, pull this off, and show you how that works. So this is a lot easier to do when I don't have the fuel cell in here. So I'm going to take advantage of it, and I will show you guys how I install the fuel cell. But it's 2 3/4, break them loose. They come apart pretty easy. But let me see how there's this extra slop. I want to take that up, so I'm going to drop this down about 1 inch. It takes a 1/8 inch for the locking screws, and I have this to rotate the coilover, but since they're brand new, there shouldn't be any issue rotating these. Okay, bolts out. Let me loosen this part and move it down an inch about, and we'll get these in. Roughly an inch. Alright, so these are super simple. You can pop this off, that goes down, and then you'll take out this ring right here. You should be able to get the whole system out. Bam. So it's gonna go where's my spec go? Okay, so it's gonna go the spring on, and then this 2-inch spacer that'll sit on the inside of the spring like that to keep them spaced and even surfaces. This might be a little bit of a pain. Stand by. So this is going to come down. And then I'll slip this ring back in. And it all should snap into place. Bam. It's essentially what I want, so there's no slop in the spring. I'll tighten this down a little bit since it was a little bit more than an inch, but I'll put the bolt back in. Super easy system. I had P2 Fab in Long Beach kind of adapt the Mike Myers brackets for the cantilevers, so they made these sweet washers that fill in the system, and then all I have to do is get the bolt to thread in like that, and it's done. The adjustability's on the shock here now instead of underneath the car, so all I have to do is go in trunk to do any adjusting. So these are in for this side. I'll do the other side and show you the spacing on the rear end for the tire to the push rod that's down here. Okay, so everything's tightened up. The coilovers now have the helper springs in there to take up any of the slack. So now I'm gonna jack the rear end up. So one side will move when the rear end is articulating this way, and then this is back to neutral, and then up again. So that's just this way, since I can only jack up from one tire. So here is the underside of the car where you can see how much room we have compared to the old setup. So yeah, I don't know how well you can see it, but now I can fit my whole hand in between the two at right height, and then at full droop I can still fit my whole hand in there. So essentially I can come in maybe an inch with the rim. So I might try to run 18 by 11s, maybe 12s, we shall see, but I might have to clearance some parts of the chassis to get that all to work. Okay, so that's wraps up the helper spring install and the brief rundown of the suspension and cage. It does tie in, the cage does tie in to this point, and it's boxed from here around the original pickup point for the stock shocks location. So yeah, it's fully welded in and the cage is welded in. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but all the wiring's out of the car, so I will be switching the wiring harness too, so stay tuned for that. Like, follow, subscribe, share with your friends. I'm gonna be putting in a radium fuel cell and fuel safe tank back here, so I will try the best I can to explain how the wiring's working. I'm gonna be putting a Boss 302S/R racing harness for the body control in the car, so we will figure out how that's going to communicate with the tank and the rest of the car, because I don't know, it's not going to work yet, and we'll see what I can make work, because I like having roll-up windows and potentially a audio system. So the car is a street car, but it is also a race car. So thanks for watching.